We're here with Matt Elliott, and today will be in English for everybody. So Matt Elliott will be on our album, on EP album. He's not a metal artist, and he's one of my artists I listen a lot when I'm writing Mir. And first of all, can you present yourself for people who don't know you?
So my name is Matt Elliott. I do music. I've done it for 25 years, maybe more. Nearly 30 years. 96 I became professional. I used to do a kind of tortured electronic music, kind of more collage of sound, but with a background of trip hop or drum and bass. And then I started to move towards neo-folk back in the start of the 2000s, and I've been doing that for the last 20 years, kind of neo-folk side music, so which kind of exists in its own little place in the universe, which I'm really happy with.
And you live in France?
Yes.
And as a musician, when we ask you for a collaboration, have you done this kind of collaboration before? I mean, not maybe for an TTRPG, but something like this?
Yeah, I've never done anything to do with gaming. I've only done film, tried to do some film collaborations twice. Both of those were a disaster, so I'm hoping that this one's going to be much better. I'm sure it's going to be much better. To be honest, I mean, if I even agreed to do it, it's because I met you guys in Paris and you seem like really nice guys. So I mean, this is like the biggest, most important thing. I'm okay to I collaborated with lots of musicians in the past and various other people. Yeah, like, as I was saying, theatre directors and stuff like that. And my biggest thing is if people are cool and nice and we have the same vision. With the filmmakers I worked with, I'm not even sure they were even aware of my work. I think it came via Stefan. So this kind of way, yeah, it's not the way to work with people. And then after those two experiences, which was maybe 15 years ago, I sort of told myself, okay, don't do that. So like I said, if I'm collaborating with you, it's because you made a nice impression of me when I met you in Paris. So,
for just a reminder for people about just your theme in general in your music. For me, it speaks a lot about sadness, but it's not empty of hope or anything. There's a lot of energy in it. Actually, I listen to this music because, like I told you in the car before the interview, sometimes I feel depressed or sad. And, you know, people said, listen happy music to be more happy. That didn't work on me. That make me anger. And I know I have anger issues, so listen sadness music helped me allow me to express my emotion. Like, you know, you're a boy, you don't need to cry. You need to be strong and everything. When I listen to your music, I'm allowing to cry, to express my feeling. And so I wrote a lot of character and a lot of, I mean, yeah, I have the feeling of it. A lot of moment of the book on your music and also future book, no. Did you like have maybe a process or something when you create your music?
Well, like now I've been doing it for 25 years. The process is really kind of well defined, but the original reason I started to make, and especially the neo-folk stuff when I went to kind of neo-folk, and neo-folk is a very loose term that I use, it didn't exist when I first started doing music, was, but with The Mess We Made, the intention, my own personal brief, was to make something that would give comfort to people who feel depressed or sad, because I've also diagnosed as depressed when I was 19. And for me, music's always been a friend and always been someone who's there when no one else is. And it's really nice to feel that someone else understands what you've gone through and someone else can help you, and also to help you cry as well, because it's really important to, and it's true what you say about men having to be strong and all this kind of stuff, and actually it's really a terrible thing, ends up with toxic masculinity, because in the end we don't, especially men, we don't really in general manage our emotions really well. But also, I mean, just from a perspective of someone with a depressive illness, like music is an amazing, just like writing is for you, it's a really amazing way to get all of this stuff out. It's like the best therapy that there is in the world, and whenever I'm sad, I pick up an instrument and I play. And so yeah, and I can't, and I do love happy music, but I never listen to it when I'm sad, because for the same reason, because it's fucking annoying. It's like if you're feeling sad, the last thing you want is some clown dancing around going like, hey, come on guys, live, live, life, laugh, and all this stuff. You want someone to put their arm around you and say, dude, I know exactly what you're going through. I went through the same thing and it was awful, and there's no real words to say, but don't worry, it will get better, this kind of thing, you know. So that's really the place I feel is the function in my music. And of course, over time, yesterday, to try to just play a joke with Ewart, and we were listening to some kind of rocky thing, like gothy rocky thing, and I was saying, you know what, I would have loved to have been in a band like this. I forget which band it was called, Lebanon something. Anyway, it was a gothy kind of thing, really nice, simple stuff. And as a joke, I picked up the guitar and tried to play some kind of rock and roll-y thing. I just literally couldn't do it. I spent 5 minutes trying to find the chords that is used, and I just don't, it's so far away from what I do, because I've really retreated into this little corner of the universe where I live with my music, and I really love my little corner. And no one really comes close to it either, because it's my little space. So I'm waiting for someone to come and do it and then be really famous, because I'm also not someone who really publicizes myself really well. I'm really happy to just, honestly, I love playing like where we met in the cinema. I played to 200 people, maybe 300, and it's really lovely, it's really intimate. I don't want to get to a point where I'm playing to a 500 or 1,000 people, because it just, then you're so far removed from your public. And I love the fact that people can write to me on Facebook. You know, I'm not inundated with messages every day. I get a few messages a week of people who often tell me that the music was really something that helped them. So it's really nice to be in this thing. But I can't remember what the question was. But
no, it's no problem.
But so the system, because I'm right at the moment now, which is the most fun part of the process, which is where I have a bunch of ideas, but nothing's fixed. So I can really play with the ideas and really have a lot of fun exploring with them and seeing where ideas go, and that for me is the most fun bit, when things start getting fixed. I'm guessing it's the same with writing. Like here, what is the same as well? She does a lot of writing, but now she's at the point where she's done all of the writing, and now she needs to like consolidate it. And I think that for a writer must be the worst thing, of going through all of the notes and then coming up with the first draft. And then I got no idea, because we were talking a bit about it in the car, about role-playing games. Like, how the fuck do you start with anything like that? I guess you start with a whiteboard, right?
Actually, this is a quite a funny story, because at this time, I don't know you yet. I was with this girl, and I was very depressed, because I have a job in cinema. It was not a big thing, but I began like a good guy in my school. But I relive some very hard aspect of my childhood, which is feeling very oppressed by job, because you're not very competent, you're not good enough, and people do your job at your place, so you feel very ostracized. And she told me, you need to write something, and don't want you to write role-playing game. I said, nobody cares about role-playing games, you cannot gain money with role-playing game. And she said, well, who knows, you always write role-playing game. So I began, and Valentin asked me to create a role-playing game, and that's began like this, actually. And after some strange adventure on the road, I began, when I spoke to my shrink, to actually think I was speaking about my neurotics and stuff I have in my mind, and I try to heal. Like speaking about stuff, and it's always important if people ask me, this is very dark, but is there hope? And I said to them, yes, always. There is like no dark story with it, any hope. And like our friend Guillaume Gallo said, it was a musician of the first album. He said, you cannot create a real darkness without light, because otherwise it will be too simple. So I try to mainly speak about the intimacy I have difficulty to express to people. It will be like very strange for many people, because they say, oh, you're very eager to speak to someone and stuff. But in a way, it's like happy music. Because I'm eager to speak, I don't have to expand myself, to present myself. With this book, I wanted people to present themselves without being afraid of it, having the discomfort of facing it. So in a way, that when I discover your music, that make me think about it, because there is this intimacy, almost, if I may say, it will be very strange, but bear with me, almost sexual. Like being touched is not fucked with someone for myself, is agree to look into the eyes during the intimacy. Maybe not you doing nothing, just touching the hand, but looking at the other being and say, okay, it's not a fantasy, it's another being. So she look me or he look me the way I look him, she'll the way I look her. And that's the feeling I want to convey, because in your music, or the music of the other band, which is totally different, of course, I have this feeling of myself, I have picture of story. And your music has a specificity of the picture change each time I listen to them. So I think I told you that before, and by mail, that there is one music of Matt Elliott, for people who don't know, which is I only wanted to give you everything. And this is my favorite. Sadly, when I present it to people, they prefer other music actually, from Howling Song or other album. And they say this is kind of repetitive. And I said, yes, but that's the pain points. That's what you feel when you broke up. Because you only like a child, you want to give you everything to someone and you're unable to express yourself. That's what I feel. And this music helped me to so many breakups. I mean, really, that's really helped me a lot. So, if I may ask you, how can you create some intimacy into this song? If you can answer this, I don't know if there is a correct answer of this, but...
Well, I mean, because if I remember correctly, that song was not even written from my perspective. It was written about someone who wanted more than I could give, basically. So, but obviously I've been in this situation many times when you really feel something for someone, and you really plan something you see, and often it's wrong. Like often it's because you kind of create a persona. You see someone walking down the street and you go, wow, she's amazing.
Yeah, true.
I know that she's, and you create this idea of who this person is, and you fall in love with this idea, but you're not falling in love with the person, you're falling in love with an idea. But then the idea becomes realer than the person. And then it's sometimes only years afterwards that I might see that person again and I say, fuck, that was crazy. Why would I think that we would last 2 weeks together? We're completely young. Some years ago, maybe 10 years ago, maybe more. No, it was around 10 years ago that some friends turned up to a show in Trve in Italy, and they asked me to sign a CD, and they said that the guy killed himself, and he was a huge fan of my music, and he really wanted me to sign the record. And his family got in touch with me and asked me to come for the first anniversary of the funeral and stuff like that, because my music meant so much to him. So then in the end, you sometimes think like, If my album was found on the turntable of someone who kills himself, do I feel bad about that? Or do I feel like I pushed them over the edge or something like that? But then I thought about this really early on in my career when I started to make sad music. How would I feel about that? Of course, you never know how you feel until it happens. But in the end, my music's not going to push someone to kill themselves.
No.
You will kill yourself because you already made a decision, you know, and it's not like someone's going to be living their best life. They're going to hear on my album and then throw themselves in front of a train. It's not going to happen. It's life that makes people kill themselves. And really, honestly, I really understand it. And this life is awful for a lot of people. I mean, fucking hell, we're really lucky. This is our job to be sat here talking in a beautiful field and stuff. And most people don't have that, you know.
Yeah.
we all fail every day, even if we try to be. So if someone describes themselves as consistently nice all the time, I smell bullshit, and I think, okay, probably best to avoid this person. So anyway.
About our collaboration, to summarize, I asked Matt a music to illustrate about the rune, so in French, la catastrophe. It's a central piece of the universe, and as I listen your song to every moment, not a specific moment, I said to myself, I want a music who spoke about a big thing who happened to the universe, a thing we cannot remedy of it, a thing which is in all life of everybody, even if everybody understands it differently with his own perspective. And I don't want to define the rune too much for now. I know what it is, but I want you to have your own interpretation. But I want a song which is more accessible than other songs because it's mostly metal music. So, you know, there is cries, there is violence, there is sometimes dissonance and other term in music, I don't know. But I want a song mostly who spoke about depression. In a beautiful way, and I don't know how you understand my ask when I ask you this, when you feel about it. And
well, I understand a lot more now that you say it to me now, and I'm actually really glad to have this. It's actually why I said, yeah, let's do the interview now, because that way we can get the ball rolling. Because of course we talked a bit about it.
Yeah, but email is
and stuff like that, but until you actually talk and discuss things, it's much better. It's like when I said I prefer to work with people when I have the director in the room. It's really great. True. To do that. So yeah, now I understand the concept a little bit more, and now it makes me think even better that yeah, I'm the right guy for this job, because actually it's something that I'm quite good at doing, is describing something but in very general terms, which is it's part of what I try to do in my music, is to describe something that anyone can relate to, so any person.
So as we're saying, like Emir, you will discover the secret of how we access to artists and stuff. So for book one, and book one is a little bit confusing because we are already a book, but our book is an introduction book. For role-playing people, introduction book is a discovery book with all you need to play, but you cannot create your character. It's like, for us, a moment to present your project and say, if you like better, keep following us, because we have the long run to produce the big book. And the big book is like something like 300 and 400 pages with a lot of illustration, and because you don't work with AI and we pay correctly people, it costs a lot, and we imprint a lot of money to take big loan to the bank, which is like no many people do that because this is kind of crazy. And we make me 2 music albums. First, a music album is an EP album with mostly metal music, and yourself. No, okay, you are not the only one with not metal music on this album, but mostly. And the other album, which is an ambient album. So ambient album in role-playing game universe is something you put in play during your session. So you play and you said, so you enter into this room and there is a music background. And we made a first music album with Guillaume Gallo, which is one metal black metal band, which is one guy, but is a fan of TTRPG, so he made a TTRPG music for us. but it's on mostly the fourth story I wrote. I told you the last book. And this album, I want to create a new ambient album, which will be more focused on the general universe of Mir. So what I was thinking is something, as you mentioned, Skyrim, like with only instrumental. It's mostly a music who conveys the theme of the universe, and the thing is you can play it again and again. So it's like, it will be like an album of 1 hour and more, maybe 1 hour half, maybe 2 hours, and people can play again and again and again.
Chill, record some stuff, and then you take what you want. You can edit it together, or we can edit it together, whatever, you know. So yeah, I'm super up for it.
So yeah, it will be like a big stuff, because it will be like I guess 1 hour, maybe more than 1 hour, and like Skyrim, as you said, this is the closest, but I can send you other stuff.
But it would be great to aim for something like that. Obviously not do something the same, but do something that is it's always evolving and it's always changing, and,
Yes.
and it does fit to anything. I mean, the great thing about Skyrim, because it's a computer game, it selects the music for you. So yeah, when you're walking through the woods and it starts going gling, 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 and then suddenly dun, 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 you know something's coming.
Yes.
And it's really great. So in some ways it would be also great to do that, but it's much more complicated to do that in a live role-playing game scenario unless you have a soundboard or something. But even then, there's going to be a jump cut between the two.
Yes.
Things. So maybe something a little bit more generic, but that can convey anything. And if you just want a general mood of Mir, you know, it's something we just have to understand what that is. And but Babette is very capable.
Yeah, because when I saw her on stage, Babette, for people who don't know, play the name is double bass, yeah, and she was really amazing, like all the emotion of this instrument, but with your voice and stuff. I don't know, maybe it's easy to say it like this, but to experience it is totally different. It's like all the bass, the nuance of the bass, like, you know, there is not one black or not one white, there is different level, and this is exactly the same. And it was very interesting what we will create like this.
I always wanted to meet a musician like her who could really get into my universe, and I didn't even have to explain anything. She just totally understood my universe and just came in and just... And I've tried with various musicians, and even people who are fans of my music and really knew my music, but still just didn't get how to.
Yeah.
The first few drops caress and gently dance, they light up your face. You smile and wonder, looking through the eyes of a child once again. But soon the gentle drops become the deadly wolf of the gale. Our voices become lost beneath the chaos here. Be a storm.
Mm-hmm.